A church in North Buffalo is literally picking up the pieces after a vandal was caught on camera pushing over a statue. It happened on Wednesday at St. Rose of Lima Catholic Parish on Parker Avenue, just north of Hurdle. The clip shows a man walk from across the street before knocking over the 600-pound statue and then walking away.
Hey, welcome back to the E-Nation YouTube channel. My name's Antoine Williams. E-Nation is just like an anagram for Antoine, so I thought it'd be fun to make a channel with that. This channel's just my comments and experiences, and today I have a fun, well, to me it's fun. I had some fun commentary on what happened in Buffalo. I know I saw this video 4 days ago. It's been on my list to talk about this. Pretty much, I would go ahead and just out the gate, I'll say right away, so there's no confusion. I don't agree with destruction of property, like destroying something that isn't yours, just walking up, destroying it, just walking off like it's nothing. Like, obviously I'm against doing stuff like that. I'm not into, like, you know, with like the protesting when they break windows and destroy cars, stuff like that. I'm not, like, I don't think any of that's appropriate or fair to the people who worked hard to build this stuff. But, well, not but, like, that point blank, that's what I think about that. As far as, but the thing that came to my mind when I seen this video is, like, I wish this is what people would do in general, not to anyone or to anything, but just mentally in their mind, like their mindset about religion. I wish that in their mind they would just knock it down and walk away. That's what I wish that we could do as a society. If like, you know, in my mind, like, that would be great if people would just walk away from it. And today, I'm glad today I would love to talk about this Catholicism. Like, I grew up I was raised Baptist, and I went to an Assembly of God church, and so I seen Christianity a certain way, but experiencing like Catholicism, very interesting. And when I experienced it, oh yeah, and it pretty much prompted me to make this video because I pretty much had a beef with it after that. I had an issue, so I'm glad to get to talk about what my issue is, or I'm glad to talk about the religion because I have a complaint, and like a complaint specifically that happened to me that I didn't like. And yeah, like it seems a little different than the Christianity that I'm used to. When I experienced it was recently when I went to my grandpa's funeral. He was Catholic, and I've seen him at, you know, because I've been around him my whole life, him and my grandma and all them, and I've seen them do like the thing with their hands when they pray and stuff like that. I never knew what it was. So he passed away, so first we had a wake. Then the next, you know, they did some prayer or whatever there, and I guess there was a pastor there. Then the next day we did the actual funeral, where we go to the church. And so I've gone to funerals before. Every funeral I've been to, it's all been in one day. It hasn't been like that. Like, in my normal funerals, you walk in front of the body, then they talk, you know, then they close the grave, then they close the coffin. Then that was it, you know, it was over. This was different, and so I was a pallbearer, and we had to pick it up. Well, we had to pick up the coffin. It was already closed, which I actually didn't mind that part because I don't like the whole time they're talking. It kind of upsets me to have to look at the person, so I didn't mind like the coffin being closed. But it was everything else surrounding it. Like they were doing some weird stuff and saying some weird stuff, and it was like I'm at a funeral for someone that I care about deeply, but it was almost comical because, no, it wasn't comical because he passed away, that was upsetting, but the stuff that was happening was just so like surreal. I'm like, what is happening right now? I'm like, what? I'm like, does nobody understand phrasing? I'm like, why are they doing this? What is this? What is this? Why are they? It was so creepy and out of place. And the things that happened was like, first they were like sprinkling this water on the coffin, and I'm like, this is his religion, he believes in this stuff, but I'm like, but it's just like, maybe it's supposed to be holy water or something. I don't know why they're doing it, but they're sprinkling water on it. I'm like, oh, here we go. And then they had some like thing they were holding with like incense. I'm like, this is some voodoo stuff. What is this? I'm like, what is this? Incense. And then the people, so we walk in, there's like 6 people up there, they're all wearing these robes. I'm like, bro, what are you wearing? I'm like, what is these outfits? I was like, what are you guys doing? So they have these outfits on, and then it was almost like a church service, and they were doing songs, then talking, then songs, then prayer, and it would be like I felt like I was in a cult. Like they would like like there were the people who were there who were my family who were there because of the funeral. Then there were people that I guess maybe knew him from the church who went to the church, so they were behind me. So the pastor would say something about some prayer thing, and everyone behind me would be like, "Oh, oh, 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 oh," like saying like reciting like prayer stuff, and I'm like, what in the world is happening? It was it was surreal. You have to be there for it. It was so creepy, and it was like very cult like, and I was just like, every other funeral. Oh yeah, and then the thing that annoyed me was they did all this ritualistic like stuff where they were putting stuff on the coffin, putting like they had this chain with like this incense thing, and they had smoke coming out of it, and it smelled. But they were doing that. Then they had a couple of my family members go up and read passages and all this, and then I was a pallbearer. Then we went out there and put him back in the hearse, and we took him to the gravesite. And I went later on to my mom, and this was my complaint. This is what I don't understand. I went to my mom later. I'm like, why didn't we ever have anyone in the family go up there and say anything nice about him, anything specific to him? Like, it took all the humanity, and that is my complaint with Catholicism from what I experienced. Like, it took all the humanity out of the funeral. It was like they were just going through the motions. They just were doing all these things, and I think from what I saw, and I have the notes in front of me, so I can explain exactly what I saw. From what I saw, it seems like this religion, this Catholicism, like all religion is like, it has a lot, in my opinion, has a lot of nonsense in it. But the nonsense that I think that Catholicism has, specific to it, that is very noticeable, is they do a lot of, it seems like they do a lot of appeal to tradition. And the definition of that is, this logical fallacy occurs when someone claims that because an action or belief is traditional, it must be good or true. I mean, they're up there doing this stuff. To them, it must be the right thing to do. They're wearing these robes. People are important, and you do things in a certain order. You say certain things, yeah. Clearly, they believe that and there can't be any thought process besides we've always done this. Oh, it's true, it's good because it's what the Bible says. It's all you can say, or this is what people came up with years ago, which is true because if you think about it, they came up with the Bible, then they came up with Catholicism, then they came up with popes and all this stuff. It's all over time, and if you actually look at the argument, there's no it's oh, it's good, having a pope is good. Okay, why is it good? Because he's from God or whatever the reasoning is. There's no proof for any of it, and over time, that's not even the conversation people have. People will just be like, well, we've always done it that way. I was a kid, we did it this way. It's appeal to tradition. It's just a tradition. The traditions to have the thing, the traditions to do all this. And I think it's just, they have an example here, I'll read it. This medicine has been used by people since ancient history, therefore it must be an effective way to treat disease. And yeah, it's kind of the same thing with this. It's like, well, we've always done funerals this way, so it must be the good way to do it. It must be the right way to do it. And I would say from my experience, having a funeral where the family actually goes up and talk is way more effective and actually helping people move on than what I experienced. It was just a total joke. It might as well not even done it. I could have just gone to the wake, seen him, maybe talked about him a bit at that, and not gone to the funeral at all. And I was thinking that when I was at the funeral, I was like, I could have just not came to this. This does nothing for me. And they were doing, and what I found funny, because I'm the only one, number one, I keep it to myself, but I'm the only one that I know of in my immediate family who isn't into religion. But even my family members seem disengaged. They did that thing where they eat the body of Christ or whatever. And my one, I couldn't, it really took me out of it because, it really, my grandma just passed away. I was very upset about that. But what was happening took me completely out of it because, they were doing the body of Christ thing with Jesus. And I have cousins who came for the funeral who are Jewish. So, In my, I didn't say it because I've gotten older. I don't say stupid stuff like this anymore. But in my, like, two people. But in my head, I was thinking, like, to my cousin, I was, because he was a few over me, I was looking at him, and I was thinking about saying, I was gonna be like, oh, you want to go up there? You want to try you some Jesus? You want to try? You want to go see what that tastes like? I was thinking that in my head, and I was like dying. And then they were playing a song, and the guy said in the song, oh yeah, in the song he said, I still remember what he said. He said, "Blessed is he who comes with the Lord." And I was like, I'm like, Jesus, I'm like, come on, phrasing. Blessed is he who comes with the Lord. You know what my mind was thinking, and I think it repeated that a couple times in the song. I was like, what is this song? And they played the song from Sunny in Philadelphia. If you know the episode, it's when they're talking about scamming. Like, they talk about, like, things being scams, and they go in on how, like, oh, church is a scam. But they played the song from that. It's like, and hold yous in the palm of his word, or hand, or something like that. But they played that song, and I was just thinking about Sunny in Philadelphia, the way that Mac says it when he sings this song is just so funny. And I was like, oh, they played the song. It's a real thing. They didn't just make that up. It's a real song. And I just couldn't take it seriously at all. Maybe that's the problem, is I've seen too much television making fun of Catholicism, so to be exposed to it, it just seemed like a total joke. Sorry if you're into Catholicism. I just don't believe in that stuff. And yeah, I was like 13 when, like, because I always went to church, and I was like 13 when someone pointed out to me. They said, this is what they said to me. They said, you believe that when you die, you're gonna go. Oh, there's a guy in the sky who, when you die, you'll go to a place. There's a guy in the sky, and if you believe in him, that when you die, you'll go to a place where nothing bad ever happens. That's what this guy. It was like another 13-year-old said that to me, and I just thought about it. I'm like, yeah, that does sound ridiculous. It does, like, it seems like it needs. That statement seems like it needs some proof behind it. And bottom line is, there's no proof. People just say, oh, well, on faith. And the other argument people make, which I have another note here for, is they say things like, oh, my life is a testimony that it's real to his power, stuff like that. And I have an answer to that. People who say, oh, well, this happened to me, and the only explanation is the Christianity's real, the religion's real, there is a God. People who say that, there's a term that explains this, and it's called confirmation bias. It says confirmation bias is our tendency to cherry-pick information that confirms our existing beliefs or ideas. Confirmation bias explains why two people with opposing views on a topic can see the same evidence and come away feeling validated by it. So basically, it's like, you can, let's say, like, you're addicted to drugs, but you believe in religion, or you decide to believe in religion, then you stop doing drugs. So you say, well, the reason why I was able to stop doing drugs is because of my religion, or because of my God, or because of my faith. But is that really, how do we know that's the truth? Because you feel it? That's not how it works. And it's also confusing. And then the thing that makes it debatable is, like, but then there's people who can believe in Zeus, or Hinduism, or Buddhism, and they can say the same thing. And that's why, like, it's just confirmation bias. It's like, well, my experience confirms what I already believe. That doesn't make it true. Just because you feel, that's what I'm saying, just because you feel something doesn't make it true. There's no actual proof. And that's just the reality of it. If there was proof, I'm not sitting here like, it doesn't exist, I'll never believe it exists. If there's some proof, if there's good proof, with good evidence, I would believe most things. You know what I mean? Like, if there's good reasoning. But there's just no good reasoning. It's just all emotions, faith, and I just think things would be better off if people just wanted to do good, just for the fact that it's just better to do, like, I just think it'd be better. Like, people act like without religion there can't be morals. It's like, no, it's all decision making. People can decide not to do the wrong thing because they don't want to hurt people. They don't, like, it's bad for everyone. Like, usually, and also there's something called punishments. When you do bad things and get caught, there's justice systems. You're gonna get caught anyway. So there's other reasons outside of having to believe claims that aren't proven. Like, oh, if I do this, I'll go to hell. Which, yeah, it's, one sec, I'll be right back. Sorry about that. A little bit of background noise. Sometimes people come in and out, they bang and stuff. So I try to give them a second to be out of the way. But yeah, there's other reasons not to, like, you don't need like religion to not be like human garbage. Basically, if the only thing stopping you from being human garbage is religion, then like, you should probably think a little bit harder about it, because it really doesn't benefit people to do the wrong things. It might benefit you in the short term, but in the long term, it's bad for everybody, because not only are you going to get caught and have to deal with consequences, but you're going to have to deal with more stuff because more people are going to be doing what you're doing if everyone has that thought process. So yeah. But yeah, I just, going back to the article, going back to the video, I don't think he should have done that. I'm sure they have enough money to replace it, but he shouldn't be doing so, or it's insured or whatever. So I'm sure it'll get replaced, or maybe they won't replace it because they're afraid someone's going to do it again. But I just think that video is a good example of what someone should mentally do. They should just throw it out and just try to live their lives. And yeah, no, I don't have any answers on what happens when we pass away, but I guess my best guess would be, you know, like the same thing that happened before you were born. Like I don't know what happened before I was born, but I know that time existed. I don't know what's going to happen when I'm gone, but I know that time will exist. So that's really as far as I can take it. I'm not going to sit here and start making life decisions and lifestyle choices based on claims from people from thousands of years ago who had no evidence, and there is no evidence now. And I think it's a good idea for most people to do the same, to just move in that direction. But yeah, I appreciate any comments, any likes. I got a bunch of my most viewers ever on my last video. I appreciate if some of you guys transferred over to subscribers. I only still have 2 subscribers, so I wouldn't mind getting some more. And I'll see you guys in the next one.